Okay, I think we are live. Let's see if I have any technical issues tonight. I had a few sound issues last time. It wasn't very clear or loud. I'm trying a little bit of a different setup, so we'll see how it goes. Please let me know if there are any issues. So, I'm Jeff Newton, as you know, because you're on my Facebook page, and I do these mindfulness meditation sessions every Wednesday at about 8 o'clock my time. I'm currently in Canberra, and the idea is that I want to offer my friends and family and Facebook crowd ideas that really help, tips and techniques for getting in touch with yourself in the moment so that you can live a full and rich life. Because what happens if we're not in touch with our feelings and our thoughts is that they kind of take over. You can get sort of all caught up in your thoughts and your feelings, and they start jerking you around, taking you away from the kind of behavior that you want to be exhibiting, taking you away from the kind of person that you want to be. So when you become very mindful, you see that thought and you feel that feeling, and you are aware of the thought, you are aware of the feeling, and then you can decide, am I going to allow it to sort of keep hold of me and drag me into a direction that I don't want, or am I going to sort of decouple from that thought or feeling and do what I truly want to do? So it's sort of all about being the type of person you want to be in the moment. To give you a quick example, you're walking into an important meeting and your mind starts giving you the thoughts that, oh, this is going to go poorly, I haven't prepared enough, they're probably just going to dismiss my ideas without much of a thought. Okay, so you can get all caught up in those thoughts. I haven't rehearsed enough, I haven't practiced, haven't got enough data, whatever that might be. They're going to just dismiss me, I'm not credible. You can get caught up in all that thinking, and you can allow it to maybe, I don't know, you decide not to go to the meeting. You decide to go to the meeting and don't present your data. You call in sick. You do something that doesn't move you towards the outcome that you actually really want. Same with a feeling. You get really anxious. You get all twisted up in knots, and you sort of go, "Oh, I can't do this. I can't do this," and you hand it off to a subordinate or a boss or a colleague, and you say, "Hey, would you present this instead of me?" So if we're mindful and do some of the practices that I've been taking you through every Wednesday for the last sort of year or so, we will notice, we will see those feelings and thoughts, and we'll be able to kind of decouple and do what we want to do anyway. So this is starting to put these mindfulness techniques and tips into practice, into reality. So tonight I thought we'd go through a little bit of the usual sort of thing, and then I'm going to ask you to recall an emotion that you have often that you feel gets in the way. For a lot of us, including me, that's anxiety. It might be fear, it might be whatever you want to call it. And then we're just going to sit with that, we're going to explore it, and we're going to allow it to be, just like sort of what we've done before with our mindfulness of feeling meditation. But we're just going to sit, and we're going to R.A.I.N on that emotion. Okay, so R.A.I.N stands for recognize, investigate, no, so allow it, can't even spell. Recognize, allow it, investigate, and then note it. And that's kind of note it from moment to moment. What is it doing in you? Anyway, I'll get to that. So, let's get started. Please find yourself a comfortable sort of position, whether it be on a chair or on the floor, lying down or even standing up. If you're on a chair, don't lean back against the back of the chair. Sort of sit forward. Put your feet flat on the floor, about hip width apart, shoulder width apart. And your hands, just let them rest in your lap. If you're on the floor cross-legged, then just cross your legs however is comfortable for you. Straight back. And let your hands rest comfortably on your lap. If you're standing, tuck your pelvis bottom in underneath you. Engage your core. Pull your head back over your shoulders. That's for everybody. And then allow your arms just to hang beside you. Or you can sort of hold one thumb and just rest that gently in front of your heart. If you're lying down, just allow your hands to rest on your belly and let everything else just fall away. And let's start with 3 big breaths like I do every time. Breathe in fully and breathe out fully 3 times. Now just allow your breathing to settle into a natural rhythm. However your body wishes to breathe, just allow it to do so. Notice your abdomen rising and falling. I want you to really come into your body now. So just notice your feet. Bring your attention to your feet. If they're on the floor, push them into the floor. Really feel them touching the surface that they're on, carpet or tiles or cushion. Now just bring your attention to the small of your back. Really feel any pressure that might be there, any tension. Feel it against the bed or the floor if you're lying down. Now bring your attention to your hands, and I want you to actually just push your hands together. All your fingertips and your thumb. Push them together and move them around. Really notice your hands. And now allow them to just rest naturally in your lap. And return your attention to your breathing. And it's a quick sort of grounding mindfulness activity that you can do anywhere or anytime. So if you find that just before you go into a meeting, like that example I gave, you are getting a bit anxious, then breathe consciously and deliberately. Tune into your body. Tune into your feet and your hands. Any part of your body really. If you've got a favorite part of your body or something that's obvious, tune into it. Just be present with the feeling of your body. And we don't do this to get rid of those feelings. This just allows us to come back into the moment and not let that feeling sort of carry us away into some terribly unknown future. Now I'd like you to deliberately remember a feeling that you often get. If you can just automatically bring that feeling into your body, great. But maybe you might need to recall a moment in time when you had that feeling. Some sort of feeling that stops you doing what you want to do, stops you being the person you really want to be. And for a lot of us, that's anxiety. A lot of us, it's worry, fear. So think about a time when you had that, and then try to think about the feeling until you can feel it in your body. Allow it to come up into your body. Allow it to be generated wherever you feel it. Excuse me. So we're going to R.A.I.N on this feeling now. So we're going to recognize it. Recognize it as the feeling. Give it a name, whether it's anxiety or anger or sadness or fear. Give it the best emotive name that you can think of that's suitable. Recognize where it is in your body. Maybe it's in your throat. Maybe it's in your chest. Recognize where, and also recognize sort of how much of a grip it's got on you. What is it? How much are you hooked up in this feeling right now? And just allow it to be. Know that this is a feeling. No, sure, you get hooked up in it, but then allow it to be. Just stay with it. We are human beings, and human beings have a wide range of emotions, and all of them are what they should be. All of them exist. If we want to live a full and rich, productive life, we are going to experience the full range of emotions. So the A in the R.A.I.N is allow it to be. You might think of it as accept as well. Accept it. You don't need to like it. You don't need to necessarily fall in love with it and walk around with this, carrying this feeling with you. But accept that we are human beings and that is an emotion that human beings have. Allow it to be. Now the I is investigate. So investigate it deeply. Where exactly is it in your body? And what is it doing in that part of your body? Is it compressing? Is it making it hot? Maybe tingles. Does it have a shape? Does it have an edge? Is it maybe a clearly defined edge, or is it a bit more amorphous? Does it travel down one arm? Does it sort of go up one side of the face? Does it have a colour? N of R.A.I.N is to just sit back and watch it now. Just watch this feeling in us as it changes. It might reduce, it might increase, it might move, it might sort of transform from being hot to being pressure. Just going to watch it. And that is mindfulness of feelings. We can either artificially create feelings in a moment like this when we're practicing, or when a feeling naturally sort of develops within us. We can just pause for a moment and R.A.I.N on that feeling. Recognize, aha, there it is again. I'm having that anxiety feeling. I'm having that nervous feeling, that sad, that self-degenerating guilt maybe. I don't know. Whatever you think of it as, whatever you recognize it as. Recognize it. Pause. Allow it to be just for a moment. Just look at it, watch it, allow it, knowing that this is completely normal. And, the vast majority of human beings feel these same feelings. Then investigate it. Really get to know it. You could maybe give it a name, like George, Fred, Papadopoulos. And then watch it, notice it. Over time, over just the next few seconds to a minute, just notice what's happening with it. Also notice what it's trying to compel you to do. So for anxiety, for example, it's trying to compel you away from that thing that you wanted to do, because it's trying to keep you safe. That emotion is, a very old physiological thing that's in our human sort of makeup. And it thinks, this meeting I'm about to go into is dangerous, and we're going to have our ego smashed, and we're possibly going to face failure, and we're possibly going to be rejected, and we're possibly going to have all sorts of other negative things happen to us. So it gives us that fear, that anxiety, to try to compel us to not go into that meeting. But like I said, that's a very old way of our brain and our bodies working. So we don't need those emotions to be quite so controlling anymore. Natural selection kind of has stopped with us because we alter our environment rather than letting it kill us. So we need to do this work ourselves deliberately to allow ourselves to evolve beyond being pushed and pulled around by our emotions. So when we sense that emotion, we R.A.I.N on it, recognize, allow it, investigate, and then note it over time. And what that does is allows a bit of decoupling. We can still feel it, it's not going to go away. A happy byproduct is that it may reduce over time. It certainly has for me. But what this does is allows us to decouple so that it doesn't pull us around and compel us so strongly to not go into that meeting, for example. Not take the phone call, not say yes to our friends when they want to go socializing, not say yes to this person we've spoken to a few times when they ask us out on a date. It's all very scary and frightening, and yes, some bad things might happen. But usually we know it turns out okay. And even if the date goes poorly, it's still okay, you know. So what this allows us to do by just taking a moment to be mindful and present and aware, it opens us up to accepting this emotion, and then we can decide for ourselves, okay, I'm going to go into that meeting and I'm going to give it my best shot, knowing that that best shot might not be so great, but I've worked hard on this. I really believe in what I'm doing. I want to give it my best shot. So I'm going to. And I'm not going to let this anxiety make me run away. So that's the activity for tonight. And what we do, how we use it, is that when we feel something in us, a feeling or a thought, we stop, we investigate, we recognize, we allow, and then we decide, do I really want to go ahead with this or not? Most likely you do. So I'm just going to be really consciously aware that these feelings and thoughts are trying to wrap me all up and trying to keep me safe and trying to make me do something different to what I want to do. What do I want to do? Well, that's a whole nother question. That really depends on your values and your goals. A little bit outside of what we're going to do tonight, but that's how you decide. I've got values, I've got goals, I've got things I want to achieve, and the type of person I want to be. So once we've recognized, allowed, investigated and noted our thoughts and our feelings, we then decide how we want to behave in that moment based on our values and our goals. So you can do this whenever. You can do this while you're at work. You can do it just before you have an important conversation and again afterwards. You can do it whenever you get a little bit of a feeling or a thought you don't particularly feel is appropriate, that's getting a bit of a hold on you, tangling you all up in some prehistoric sort of, animal mind to try to keep us safe. And we just step through these mindfulness activities. We notice that this feeling will change and subside and go away for a moment, and it'll come back later. So we start accepting, we start noticing, and we start deliberately deciding what we want to do. Okay, so just before we go, I'd like you to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What exactly are you feeling now? Where is it? Do you recognize what it is? Name it. Hopefully it's something like contented, chilled. Maybe it's something like inspired. That's what I'm sort of hoping that you got from this time, but it could be anything. So recognize how you're feeling right now. Just allow it to be. We're all human beings, and we need to experience the full range of human emotions. And investigate it. Where is it? What's happening? And then note it. Note it over a few minutes. And when you feel that it's no longer got a grip on you, that it has moved on, if it's a negative feeling or a strong feeling, if it's an excellent, excited, happy feeling, then you don't need to wait till it's moved on. You can carry on with your day. So thank you for your time. I do hope you've got something from this video. Please leave a comment if you have one. If you have any requests or questions, pop that down in the chat as well, and I will get back to you. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.